burying 5 at a go. We're going to bury more. We only want to alert the public. The COVID is real, and therefore protect yourself. Observe the national protocol measures to protect yourself, protect your family.
COVID-19 still exists. Please observe the safety protocols. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios here in Kokomlemle. It's a digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. Affiliates across the country including A1 Radio in Bogatanga, Radio Max in Takrady, and around the world at myjoyonline.com. In this edition, Joy News investigation uncovers procurement breaches at the National Lottery Authority that has resulted in the loss of over $10 million of the taxpayers' money.
Since the NLA was buying 30,000 pieces, the authority should have been paying $172 per device and not $860.
Meanwhile, the NLA has described as false claims the authority has procured 30,000 Android point-of-sale terminals. Will bring you their reaction. Also, Electoral Commission reviews it has dispatched ballot papers to the regions and electoral roll to political parties with 18 days to the December polls.
By the course of tomorrow, our registered and ballot papers will be at the regions. So that tells you that we have planned ahead of time, and we are sure that the parties are also involved.
We have more as the Commission commits to declare results 24 hours after the election. Also, proliferation of arms, robberies, and an ill-resourced police service. Today in our series, Safety for My Vote, will take you to the Northeast region where 60 hotspots have been identified.
And it happens like political matters. People take politics into our to arrest.
We have sports.
Sports medical practitioner Dr. Prince Pambu charges players of the Ghana Premier League clubs to make COVID-19 prevention a personal responsibility.
And later, Ghana Highway Authority begins emergency maintenance works on a damaged bridge near the Ashaman underpass on the Accra-Tema motorway. We have details of that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. Please stay for details. And this afternoon, a Joy News investigation has uncovered the nation lost over $10 million in the procurement of point-of-sale devices for the National Lotteries Authority. Our team gathered evidence that the contract for the supply of 30,000 POS devices for the NLA could have cost less than half of a contract sum of $25 million. Here are excerpts of that finding.
The Nesgo N5 had never been used for lottery anywhere in the world. Barely 3 months after the team arrived in Ghana, Mr. Oseameyao wrote a letter to the Public Procurement Authority (PPA) on 25th October 2018 asking permission to use single-source procurement method to procure 30,000 Nesgo N5 smart point-of-sale terminals for the NLA. He wanted the endorsement of the PPA to use the narrow window of single sourcing to choose Chinese firm Shenzhen Zingodu Technology Limited through the appointed agent in Ghana, Techstart Africa Limited, to supply the items.
The D under section 40, where you have procured some items before and for whatever reasons you need additional supplies. I mean, common sense will tell you that, look, you just went through all this hell, so why don't you call? But in doing so, don't make sure your current order is not more than what you bought.
The devices previously bought by the NLA were Ingenito, bought at $365 each, and TPS 300, which is currently being used by the NLA, bought at $440 each. These devices were procured in 2010 and 2015. According to this invoice, a buyer who is taking less than 1,000 pieces of the N5 terminals would be required to pay $260 per terminal. If the buyer was acquiring more than 10,000 pieces, however, a terminal would cost $172 per device. Therefore, since the NLA was buying 30,000 pieces, the authority should have been paying $172 per device and not $860.
It's really between that $180 to $300 price range. Right? So that's really $180 to $300. Yeah. No.
Yeah. Assuming that the NLA bought the highest grade, the price is still inflated by more than 100%. By our calculation, these 1,000 pieces should have cost the NLA 827,130 Ghana cedis. That is less than 1 million cedis. But the company paid 4,082,772 Ghana cedis for them. Assuming customization increased the price of the terminal by 100% using the invoice we obtained from the Chinese company, Nesgo N5 should cost at most $344 per piece and not $849, more than double the exaggerated amount.
You have excerpts of that documentary. Meanwhile, the NLA has described the revelations in the response as untrue, or the expose as untrue, adding it is false that the authority has procured 30,000 Android point-of-sale terminals. The authority has issued a statement in reaction to the documentary you just heard. My colleague Kujo Yangson has details of that statement.
The Public Procurement Authority gave approval to the authority to procure 30,000 point-of-sale terminals, but according to financial strength of the authority, only 5,000 out of the 30,000 point-of-sale terminals have been purchased. The cost and negotiations for the award of contract to the manufacturer, Shenzhen Jingudu Technology Limited, was approved by the Public Procurement Authority. The Public Procurement Authority directed the NLA to negotiate for a 5% discount on the contract sum prior to the award of the contract to Shenzhen Jingudu Technology Limited. However, due to the inability of the local partner of Shenzhen Jingudu Technology Limited to offer the 5% discount as requested by Public Procurement Authority, the PPA therefore directed the National Lottery Authority to go for a 3% reduction instead. Again, the Android point-of-sale terminals are not just ordinary point-of-sale terminal machines. The Android point-of-sale terminals have special technological features aimed at supporting NLA to offer value-added services, unlike the usual analog point-of-sale terminal machines, which lack the capacity to perform the functions of value-added services. Therefore, it is very naive and ignorant for Joy News, Joy FM Multimedia Group Limited to conclude that the authority has procured 30,000 Android point-of-sale terminals at an inflated cost of over $10 million.
What you hear there are excerpts of that statement issued by the National Lotteries Authority, read to you by my colleague Kujo Yangson in response to the Joy News documentary, which uncovered how $10 million was lost to the state in the procurement of point-of-sale devices. Now, the Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram Sam Nate George says Martin Amidu had no business sharing his corruption risk assessment report with President Akufo-Addo before making it public. Mr. Amidu, in his resignation letter, alleged interference by the President in the Ejapa Royalties probe when he presented the report to him. But Mr. George argues the Special Prosecutor's Act does not oblige him to do so. Speaking on PM Express's manifesto tracker, the MP stressed that Martin Amidu's actions and inactions affected the country's fight against corruption.
As soon as the President gets inkling on the 19th of October, what is contained in the summary that he had out of Ketian, on that score, I agree with Martin. Martin had no business submitting a summary to the President, whether out of Ketian or whatever. Section 4.1 of the Special Prosecutors Act, that's Act 959 or something, it is clear he is not subject to the directions or authority of any established authority in Ghana. So he had no business under, whether by way of Ketty or anything, writing to the President, especially when in his report, his risk assessment, he indicts the President and indicts President Akufo-Addo's finance minister and other appointees of state. Martin opened the door and made it clear that further investigation and prosecution could arise. Absolutely.
Yes.
On his part, Communications Director for the New Patriotic Party, Yao Buabiyesamwa, maintained Mr. Amidu had the prerogative to tell President Akufo-Addo that he was interfering with his anti-corruption fight. The Adentan MP argued that Martin Amidu shouldn't have walked away from a fine opportunity to empower the Office of the Special Prosecutor plus himself.
We believe that whatever the level of so-called interference there was, Martin had a lot of legal authority to fall back on. He walked away from opportunity to cement that independence. Because if you say the president was interfering, and you had the capacity to demonstrate to the world that the president was interfering with all these letters, why then do you walk away? He actually praises the president for the president's commitment in allowing him to do what he had to do. You understand? So if the president is allowing you to do what you have to do, how do you turn around and say that the president expected you to be a product? So the president has interfered. The chief of staff says, wait for a week. You have the law. It says nobody can interfere. You get up, come out, call the press. Chief of staff says I should wait for a week. I won't wait. I have to go and do this. Who can stop him? That's all he had to do. That's what I'm saying. Mark has missed a golden opportunity to establish the independence of this office.
You heard that the communications director for the New Patriotic Party, Yao Boabi Samoa, speaking on PM Express Manifesto Tracker. Time for election headquarters, brought to you by Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity. And the Electoral Commission has revealed it has dispatched ballot papers to the regions and the electoral roll to the various political parties with 18 days to the December polls. The Commission also says it will declare results 24 hours after election. According to the EC, this election will go down in electoral history of the country as the best compared to the previous ones held. Director of Electoral Services, Dr. Stribo Kweku, has been speaking to my colleague Israel Lai.
All things being equal, by the next day, before we go to bed, we have declared the results. So our plan is that we want to declare results on the 8th of December. That's why I said that this year's election is going to be the best, because we are putting in place all the planning that it needs, and we are getting all the support that we need. All the logistics have been put in place. The regions and the districts have been asked to submit what they will need to make our dream of declaring the results the next day a reality.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Ernest Edujemfi, has appealed to religious leaders to be mindful of prophecies and predictions around the upcoming polls.
Well, we are all worried about the ministers who give prophecies and things concerning election. Our appeal to them is that as much as possible, we believe that prophecy still exists, that we need to exercise wisdom in speaking out some of these things so that we don't create unnecessary tension in our country. From the angle of the Peace Council, because of our representation on the council with the various heads of religious organizations, we are seeking to use our members to appeal to their people to do the best they can to tone down some of these things. Sometimes the challenge is that you tell people not to do those things and they come out telling you that, well, it's because you don't have the anointing or you don't have the gift. But one of my old friends used to say that the unctioning of the Spirit does not nullify the functioning of the gumption. The fact that God's anointing is on you doesn't mean that your brain does not work. You need to be careful what you say, how you say it, when you say it, so that this country will remain as peaceful as possible. For any minister who prophesies, as it were, affiliated to a particular party, you must understand that your church members belong to different parties. And therefore, when you do those things, you are virtually dividing the church.
And you have there the chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Ernest Edujemfi. This is the election headquarters here on Joy 99.7 FM, brought to you by Petrosol. Then also, for a population of nearly 600,000, the Northeast region has only 6 police vehicles, one of which was recently involved in an accident, killing 1 police officer. Today in our series on security in electoral hotspot communities, dubbed Safety for My Vote, we are in the region where Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will be voting on December 7, a region which has recorded several armed robberies recently. Residents want the police service there resourced ahead of the elections. Correspondent Ilyasu Tanko has more.
The Northeast region has had notable existing threats, from chieftaincy and ethnic clashes to armed robbery, which all point to proliferations of arms. Concerns are raised. This will make it difficult for security agencies here to contain situations that may arise at the 60 identified electoral hotspots during and after the elections. For many, The phenomenon of politically connected people being left off the hook dampens the hope of violence-free election.
When they arrest somebody and it happens like political matters, people take politics into our robbery. They to arrest one party member with a gun, Alajis and Imam, they will go and talk on behalf of the man because they are having political decisions. So they will release the man. Even if they catch him with a gun.
Well, you had there Ilyasu Tanko's report as we focus on hotspots as we get ready for election 2020, and the Safety for My Vote is a series that we've embarked on. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We've been bringing you the Joy News investigation that has uncovered procurement breaches at the National Law-Through Authority that has resulted in the loss of over $10 million of the taxpayers' money. The Electoral Commission has also reviewed that it has dispatched ballot papers to the regions and electoral roll to political parties with 18 days to the polls. When we return from the break, we have sports, and then later, Ghana Highway Authority begins emergency maintenance works on a damaged bridge near the Ashaman Underpass on the Accra-Tema motorway.
Fellow Ghanaians, the stakes are high for our country this December. Don't stay home.
Remember, this election is about your future. Which of the candidates will you trust with managing our economy better? Which leader can give us free SHS and enhance the education of our children? Who can you trust to protect us during dark periods such as COVID-19? Who has the competence to protect our economy, build roads and dams?
Do you remember the dark periods of Doomsaw, Create, Lose and Share Brigade?
This December, remember we cannot afford the risk. Let's vote for Nana Ekufuado and the NPP to protect our progress.
If we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change.
Winning strategies, nuggets of wisdom, unforgettable stories, all in one inspirational hour. Springboard your virtual university with Albert and Comfort Okran and guests.
Planning is bringing the future into the present.
A job is for the salary, is mundane, is survival oriented, and there's no passion. But a career has fulfillment, innovation, drive. A growth path is clear, and you can build step by step all the way to the top.
Matriculate at 7 p.m. and graduate at 8 p.m. every Sunday on Joy 99.7 FM and live on Facebook. Springboard is brought to you by Legacy and Legacy and Joy 99.7 FM and proudly sponsored by MTN, Enterprise Group, UMB Bank, and Axis Pension Trust with support from the graphic business.
This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Time for sports. Hans Mensando.
Hello, Emefa, and sports medical practitioner Dr. Prince Pambu has charged players of Ghana Premier League clubs to make COVID-19 prevention a personal responsibility. His call come on the back of cancellation and rescheduling of games in the ongoing Ghana Premier League due to COVID-related issues.
It's a tricky situation, but all I'll just say is that the players themselves should be very responsible people. If you are on the bench and not playing, wear your mask. When you finish, there's no point going to see Jama because you want to, as much as possible, reduce exposure. So you must play. That's why you have to play and not wear a mask. But when you are not playing, wear the mask. If you're in your hotel, wherever you are, in the bus, wear the mask. My last plea goes to my own people, Ghana Health Service and the COVID Task Force. If we really want to create a good biosafety environment for us to be able to play the league, we should try and make sure we do the test and then we produce results on time.
Dr. Prince Pambu is a member of the CAF Medical Committee. That's your sport.
Thank you very much, Hans. Now, the Ghana Highway Authority has begun emergency maintenance works on the damaged bridge near the Ashaman underpass on the Accra-Tema motorway. Project supervisor from the authority, Enam Amuzu, tells Prince Owusu of Adom News the 6-week work has become necessary after a portion of the bridge wall broke, posing danger to motorists and pedestrians. He adds work would be speeded to prevent a collapse of the entire bridge. We'll soon hear from him, but first, here's what my colleagues Maxwell Agbagba found when he visited the site after over a week ago.
The slab that is supporting the bridge is off. The road, the erosion is chopping into the middle of the road, and no one is paying attention to it.
Voice of a concerned motorist in a video sent to Joy News talking about the danger on the eastbound section of the Accra-Tema motorway.
Shouldn't wait for a disaster to happen before we come to save lives.
It is a big pit caused by erosion around the storm drain very close to the Ashaman underpass. Motorists who use the road tell me what started as a small hole is gradually expanding into the main road. They fear that portion of the motorway may cave in if it is not fixed.
My name is Wisdom.
This man uses the motorway frequently. He wants authorities to fix the problem.
So this thing immediately they need to come and fix this thing out before it gets out of hand. The next rain that will fall, it will affect again. That one is serious.
The Ghana Highway Authority says it will comment after an assessment of the situation.
Well, that assessment has been done and work has commenced. Let's now hear from Mr. Amuzu, who is advising motorists to be extra careful when using that portion of the road. He spoke to my colleagues on Atadom FM.
There is no scoring, erosion. With time I did here, and then I'm going on FLE. Well, for now, no, per our program, no. Like it's a month. And I say you will be BIA. Now, Ahano, April, no, I collapse. So what we are going to do is that diverted flow, no, the flow of the river, I call one of the span. So the next thing is the best fillet channel now with borders up to a certain height. Near the lean concrete gusu. After that, near iron rods for the apron. Near cast concrete also up to we call the invert level.
That's the project supervisor at the Ghana Highway Authority, Enam Amuzu. I'll take you back to the election headquarters this time to hear once again from Dr. Srebo Kwaku, the Director of Electoral Services. Now, he's been announcing that they would announce the electoral results 24 hours after voting, and then also explaining to us what will happen from now till the election day.
I'm saying so in the sense that we have learned from our previous challenges and we have planned towards this election. And I think for the first time, almost all our materials are at the regions more than 2 weeks to the election. And I know by the close of tomorrow, our registered and ballot pairs will be at the regions. So that tells you that we have planned ahead of time, and we are sure that the parties are also involved. And it's like one thing that I want to put across is that we give the register to the political parties almost 2 weeks now, and nobody has uttered any word about it. So my convention is that now all the challenges that came about during the exhibition has been addressed. That's why they have the races and they are not complaining.
With the problem may be bidding time and then they come back to want to complain.
Immediately they got them. If there were complaints, they will not sleep. You know the politicians in Ghana. If the moment they identify a problem, they have to talk about it. So I am convinced that they realize that we have addressed all the challenges that came about during the exhibition. That's why they are not complaining.
How different is this election going to be, apart from some of the challenges you say you've identified?
Yeah. You see, for instance, if you look at the CI 127, that's governing this election, we have introduced collation at the regions. So apart from collation at the constituency and the national, we will do in between the regions. So national will only collate 16 results. And our plan is that all things being equal, by the next day, before we go to bed, we'll have declared the results. So our plan is that we want to declare results on the 8th of December.
That's the Director of Electoral Services, Dr. Srebo Kwaku, speaking to Joy News editor Israel Lai. Now, where the Wache lovers gather around, because imagine walking all the way to your favorite Wache joint just to realize you do not have any cash on you. And if you don't have Momo, you may have to journey back to get the money and risk coming back only to be told that the Wache is finished. Well, this could be a thing of the past as Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia launches the Universal QR Code. Now, that QR Code payment solution will allow customers make instant payments for goods and services from different funding sources such as mobile wallets, cards, and bank accounts by scanning a quick response code on a smartphone. The Vice President has been demonstrating the innovation at Antimuni's Wache Joint at Ridge in Accra today.
Ghana's QR code will cater for both bank and non-bank customers. That is, those who use mobile money as well as have bank accounts. So if you go, you can pay using your mobile phone. The merchant can receive the payment using their mobile phone. Instant, you scan the QR code and then you can confirm that yes, this is the merchant and I'm paying this amount to the merchant. So it's very secure in that regard. We are solving a problem that has been with us practically since independence. We are a cash-based economy, and in a cash-based economy, it's a very inefficient economy. And we are cash-based because so many people are excluded from the financial system. So we do a lot of transactions with cash, which means robberies can take place as people carry cash around. E-commerce too doesn't develop if you have a cash-based economy.
That's Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. And speaking of technological innovations, a teaching assistant of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has developed a water control and management system. This is to address the challenge that arises when users of reservoirs inadvertently leave water to overflow and waste away, resulting in shortages at crucial moments. On Tech Thursday today, Love FM's Kwesi Deborah speaks with the developer Mohammed Zainuddin on how the technology works.
Abdullah Mohammed Zainuddin, an aerospace engineering graduate, is CEO of ABZ Automations. The tech startup seeks to eliminate manual repetitive tasks through the development of hardware and software solutions aimed at specific tasks. Their flagship product, known as the Auto X.
One is to prevent your tank from overflowing when it's full, and the other is to automatically pump water into your tank when you run low on water. So what it does is we have sensors that are installed on this tank, and their duty is to measure the level of the tank. It sends a signal to the controller that, you know what, the tank is getting low on water, so you have to get us some water. So it will turn on the pump and it will fill the tank.
So far, Abdullah has installed the product in many parts of the Ashanti region. Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
Staying a while longer in the Ashanti region, the Asantehene Otumfuose II has been officially informed about the passing of the former President Jerry John Rawlings in accordance with tradition. The family were there earlier today to officially inform him as the state prepares to give the former president a befitting burial. It's time for entertainment. Mapitso Sebidi, what's up?
And we're getting ready for the virtual Adom Praise as gospel musician Emoji Music has promised an unforgettable performance for patrons at this year's virtual Adom Praise. Now, interview with Doreen Under on the Cosmopolitan Mix, the male vocalist of the year says he's poised to bless Ghanaians come 20th November.
We are bringing the power of God and the skill that God has blessed us with. Right. So we are going to minister the songs that God has given to us. And everybody would have been watching us live in their homes, online, everywhere, will be impacted with the power of God. Right. So you just can't afford to miss it. That's not a ticketed event.
And
it's free.
Yeah, you can just go online and sit there and just enjoy it.
Tune to TV and you get.
Are there some favorites you think that people like that you definitely will be singing?
Yeah, definitely. I'll be singing Be Lifted. I'll be singing Hallelujah. I'll be singing Elohim. The new album we just released, Experience. I'll be singing Jesus.
Remember, this is a virtual concert, so join us from 7 to 11 p.m. on the Dome channel, or also you can go to our Facebook page. It's a Dome TV. So get enough data, people.
And it's just tomorrow, and you can't miss it. 25 years of Christ at work as we celebrate media excellence and broadcasting. And that's it for the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. As we prepare for our Doom Praise, ye be him. I am Emefa Apawu. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. After this break, we have Living Word with Pastor Mensa Ota.